Hello everyone and welcome back to Python lectures. In this video, you will be learning about the inbuilt functions that are available for your sets, right? So let us start with our first function. So the first function that we are going to see today is the add function, and as the name suggests that it is going to add elements to a set, right? On your screen, I have used a very important example, but programmatically we are going to see a different example along with this one also. So here I have a set with have three elements that 10, 20 and 30 respectively. And add over here is a method which is actually adding 30 to my set. And as you know that sets do not allow duplication of your values. So this time when I'm going to print S, the answer will be 10, 20 and 30. But through this particular syntax, we can add any amount of numbers or any amount of data to our set. So let us move to our Visual Studio Code and then see that how we can actually use this method. So here let me first define a set in curly brackets. Let the value be 10, 20 and 30 respectively. And what I'm going to do is I will be using this add function, and here I will be adding the value 40 first. I'll do that example of 30 also, but first of all I will be taking 40 over here, and then I will be printing the S right now, right? So what the output should be? The output should be having four values this time: 10, 20, 30 and 40. Remember that the ordering doesn't matter because set is an unordered data structure. Now, changing the code, I will be here writing the value as 30, right? And 30 is already the part of my set. Now, if I run the code, on your screen, you will be seeing that 10, 20 and 30 is only printed. There is no repetition of the values. Now, can I add 30.90 also? Is it possible? So set is a homogeneous type of data element? No. Can I add strings in a set? So let it be a value of a string and running it, and you can see that yes, Anjali is also been added to your set. But here there is a disadvantage. The disadvantage is, what if I want to add 100 values to my set? Then 100 times what I have to do, I have to call this add method, right? So 100 times this add method will be called, right? Now see the difference. Add is a method, right? Method is a function which is defined inside a class. We will be discussing the difference between method and function in the later section of our Python series, right? So what we have to do, we have to write this add method again and again, right? To overcome this difficulty, there is another method with us, that is the update method. So let us go back to our slides and see what it is. The next method that we have is the update method, right? What this method does, it updates a set, right? It updates a set and it's union it with the values, right? So what on your screen you have a set that is S, and you have a list which also have three elements, right? What we did, we called update on our object S, and in the parameter we have passed both the list over here and also a range that says 4. And at the output, what I will be expecting, I will be expecting a set that will having the value 10, 20 and 30 from S, 40, 50 and 60 from the list, and also the output of the range method, or the range function rather. Range is a function which have values 0, 1, 2 and 3, right? So what it did, it just union the values of list and range into S, right? So what is the advantage of it? If I want to add four values, that is 40, 50, 60 and 70, rather than using the add method four times, I am using the update method only once. Now let us see how this works. So here I will be defining a list first, and the list will have values 40, 50 and 60 respectively, right? And what I'm going to do over here is I will be calling update method, right? And if I put my cursor over it, you can see update a list with the union of itself and others, right? So in the parameters, I will be writing list first, right? And just first printing the value of S now, right? Now on running the code, you will be visualizing that yes, the value of list, that is 40, 50 and 60, has been unioned into the value of S, that is 10, 20 and 30, right? So you got the union answer. Now let me over here just take the range function and put the value of 4 over here, and now you can see the output. Now if I run the code, and now you can see that 0, 1, 2, 3 is also been added to your list. Now can I use another parameter over here or not? Means, is it possible to have multiple parameters, right? If I run the code, and yes, you can see, so you can take as many parameters over here and you can get the input answers like this. So everything is just been unioned. The third function over here is the simplest function that we have seen in our list, also in our tuples also, which is the copy function. Now what it does, it simply returns the copy of our set. So here I have a set which have 3 values, and I have created a new set and just copied the value of S into S1 and just printing the value of S1, right? And we can also verify it using the ID, the ID function, and also by changing the values. So here on your screen, I have taken a set with 3 values, and now I will be creating a new set that is equal to S dot copy. It creates a shallow copy over here. And now what I'm going to do, I will be printing the value of, let us say S1 is equal to, and just print the value of S1. Now change the value of S1 like S1 dot let's say update only, and in update in S1 add 100, 200 and 300 or 3000, whatever it is, because we just want to check the values. And now you're printing S, and again here you will be printing S1, right? So here what we did, we just copied the value of S into S1, we updated S1, and then we are verifying that where is that updation is been done. So S1 is copied, right? The value of S is copied in S1, verified. Now when I printed S, then I got the same result as before, and when I printed S1, you can see that the data is now been unioned in S1 set. The fourth function in our set is the pop function. It removes and returns an arbitrary set element, and it raises a key error if the set is empty. Why it returns or remove the arbitrary element? Because the sets are unordered, right? Because list and tuples are ordered, so in that it going to remove the last element every single time when it is called. But in sets, because the set is unordered, so it returns any arbitrary element. Let us see about the pop method. So here I will be calling the pop method on my list, and it's better to actually pass it into print statement, because pop actually returns the value. So every single time I'm just calling this value, you will be actually finding what it is actually returning or removing from the set, right? But we also want to make sure that the value is now been removed. So let us print S also, right? If I run the program now, you can see that it is removing 10 out of it, right? 10 is not the last element, and you can see that 10 is now been removed from the set also. Now if I copy and just call the same statements again, then you can see that in the first thing it is actually deleting 10 from the list, from the set, and then 20 from the set. One more time you can call this without any error, and here you can see that you're left with an empty set. But again, if you call it once again and run, then after creating an empty set, it will be raising a key error which says that pop from an empty set. So from empty set you cannot remove anything, right? So that is why it has raised a key error from it, right? So that was about the pop method. The fifth function in the set is the remove function or the remove method. Remove actually deletes an element from a set, but in order to use remove, the element that we want to delete should be a member of the set, right? Now, if the element is not a member, then it's going to raise a key error, right? So let us see how this works. The working of remove method is very simple. So you can use remove like this, and let us say that I want to remove 20, right? And if I'm going to print S now, then 20 should be removed from my set, and you can see only 10 and 30 is now been left. What if I call remove with an argument of element which is not present in my set, right? So what is remove going to do? If I run the code now, you can see that it has raised a key error with the argument that I have passed in the removes parenthesis, which clearly indicate that this value is not present in my set. Now the issue is, what if I want to remove something from my set which is user defined? That means if I ask the user to enter the value you want to delete, and users are actually humans and humans can do errors, right? Suppose I wanted to delete 20 only, but the 0 is pressed so many times and the value that is entered is, let's suppose, 20 million. So what I'm going to do, and there will be a key error. So the person who do not know about programming will get confused that what is this key error all about. So in that case, in order to remove this key error, there is another function in Python which do not, create any error if the element is not present in the set. That method is the discard method. Let us study about discard method. It removes an element from a set if it is a member, and if the element is not a member, then it does nothing. So we have a set, and if I discard 20, then of course 20 will be removed from my set. But let us see, if I remove 20,000, then what discard is going to do. So in the same code, let me first remove. That is something very interesting. I'm removing remove and writing discard. And let me just first make it 20. And if I'm going to run the code on your screen, you can see that 20 has been removed and 10 and 30 has been now printed. Now what if I just add a lot of zeros over here and then run the code, and you can see that nothing has been done. The set is now been printed as it is and no key error has been raised. So discard is used actually to remove the element, but in case if there is if we call discard with an element which is not in the set, it is going to do nothing. That means no key error will be raised. The next method is the clear method, and it removes all the elements from the set and returns an empty set. It is similar to the clear method which is available in list. It is similar to the clear method that is available in tuples, right? So let us just run and verify the clear method. So here if I call clear method on my set S, then it is going to remove each and every element from the set, and let us now print the value of S, and I should get an empty set over here. So that is how clear works. It removes all the elements from a set. The last method that today we are going to see is the superset and is subset method that are available with sets. The superset report whether this set is contained in the another set or not, and the subset reports whether another set is contained in this set or not. Let us not get into the definitions because that seems a little confusing. So here on your screen I have two sets, set S1 and S2. In S1 I have values from 1 to 7, and in S2 I have value from 1 to 5. it is clearly seen that S2 is a subset of S1. What these two methods are going to report is a Boolean value. If S2 is contained in S1, that means S2 is a subset of S1. At that point of time, it is going to return true. And if we see that S1 is a superset of S2, in that case also it is going to return true. So they are going to return Boolean values, and let us see how they work. So here on your screen, I am just typing a set S1 that have values from 1 to 7, right? And I'm going to take another set which is S2 that have values from 1 to 5, right? And now I'm going to call, let us say print S2 is a subset because this is contained in this, right? It is a subset of S1. Let us run and see. The value is true. Yes, it is the subset of S1. Now, printing the value S1 is superset of S2. Definitely, it has more elements, right? So if I run the code, I got 2 true on my screen. Now let me just take another set, let's say S3, and let I have a value, only one value, let's say 10 in it, right? And if I just going to copy this particular statement and print it and say, is S3 is a subset of S1? So clearly not, and I should get false as my answer. And if I run the code, and you can see, yes, I got the third value as false. So now here you can understand that these methods are going to return the value as a Boolean value. If it is a subset is true, then it is going to print true. Otherwise, it is going to return false, right? So that was all about the inbuilt functions that are available, or the inbuilt method rather, available in sets. In the upcoming video, we are going to see about the union, intersection, and set difference methods, which are also available in sets. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe my channel and share the content. Thanks for watching.